Hello everybody, welcome to my class. Today I am going to discuss about caste rule in trigonometry. So the word caste has been composed by the letters C, A, S, T. Here C stands for cosine, that means cosine is positive. A stands for all, that means all trigonometrical ratios are positive. S stands for sine, that means sine is positive. And T, the letter T stands for tangent, that means tan is positive, negative. So let's see now how it is. So here you can see caste rule in trigonometry. Here C stands for cosine, positive. A stands for all positive, that means sine, cos, tan and their reciprocals such as cosec, sec and tan. S stands for sine positive and T stands for tangent, that means tan positive. So let's check what happens here. For example, suppose that this is a unit circle. Unit circle means its radius is 1 centimeter or 1 meter, or in general you can say this is of 1 unit, that means radius of the length is 1 in this case. So let's suppose that here this is angle A, which is made by the line OP1 with x-axis along this circle. So here, for example, let's suppose that if you drop a perpendicular here on this line, then it will be 90 degree, and then you know that sin theta equal to P by H, cos theta equal to B by H, and tan theta equals to P by B. That sort of thing we have to apply here. So for example, I am interested to find this length. That means if you say this as M, that is the foot of the perpendicular, then what is the length of M? That means the length of M will be the x coordinate for the point P1, and the length PM will be the height from x-axis to this point. That means PM will be the y coordinate for this point P1. So for example, let me check for cos A. So you can say here cos A equals to B by H, that means base by hypotenuse. So here you can see that base is written as PM, or you can say that the x coordinate, so this is x, and H is the unit circle. You can say that means H is 1 in this case, and hence you can say that x equals to cos A. That means x coordinate is cos A here, and again you know that sin A equals to P by S, that means perpendicular by hypotenuse, and then P value you can say that it is PM, or PM is, you can say in general that is y, that means in place of P you can put y, and in place of H is again 1 centimeter, that means 1, and hence you can say that y coordinate is going to be 1 times of sin A after cross multiplication, so it is sin A, and hence you saw that here the x coordinate is cos A and the y coordinate is sin A over here. Then what about the tan? Tan means you know that if you would like to find tan A, you can do in two ways. Is that it is the ratio of this is P by B, perpendicular by base. So here the perpendicular is P1M. So P1M is in fact y coordinate, and base is AM. AM is in fact x coordinate, and y coordinate we have just seen that it is sin A, so we can put here sin A, and then x coordinate we have cos A, you can see here, and here also x coordinate as cos A, so we can write here cos A, and this is true that if you divide sin A by cos A, then it will be tan A. But what did you see over here? We talked about here it is sin A, cos A and tan A also. We see that all the values for cos A, sin A and tan A are positive, and therefore this is the first quadrant. This is the first quadrant. I'm not talking of this sector only. First quadrant means start from x-axis to first time you reach to the y-axis. Alright, so this is called the first quadrant, and in first quadrant you saw that sine is positive. Yes, here you can see sine is positive, and also you saw that cos is positive, as well as you saw that tan is positive. So definitely they are reciprocals. For example, reciprocal of sine is cosec is positive, and reciprocal of cos is sec is positive, and reciprocal of tan is cot is also positive. Okay, therefore we can say that here all trigonometrics ratios are positive. That means the values of all the trigonometrics in the first quadrant is always positive. That means we saw A in the first quadrant. A means all positive, means all trigonometric ratios values are positive in the first quadrant. Now let's check in the second quadrant what happens. So this is the second quadrant we are talking of. So let's draw a perpendicular on this line x-axis, and suppose that this is angle A. Alright, so we are taking the equal angle A. In this case we can take angle x, angle theta, whatever you can denote the angle for. So in this case, let's see what is the coordinate for the point P2. That means here it was at the position P, one particle, and that particle is now in the second quadrant at position P2. We'll check that what will be the value of x and y coordinate of P. So here in this triangle you can say this is M, then you can say this as M dashed. Alright, and then in the triangle P2 M dashed O, you can see that this is again the unit circle. That means its radius is 1. That means this sort of hypotenuse is 1. So here we talk first about x coordinates. So we know that cos A equals to B by H again, and B in this case is OM dashed. OM dashed is along the x-axis, that means negative x-axis in this case. So we can write here minus x, and H is P2M dashed. That means this is the S means OP2. OP2 is the hypotenuse, and hypotenuse values is 1 because this is a unit circle. So you can write here 1. Even if you don't take the unit circle, you can take with any length. The things will work, but it will be even better if you take the example of unit circle. So we found the x coordinate at this point as x equals to, this negative sign will be transferred to another side by cross multiplication, and then this will be minus cos A, and then we search for y coordinates. That means P2M dashed. So here we use sine A. Sine A means at this time we are using the angle A in the second quadrant. So sine A equals to P by H, and P is in fact along y-axis, that is M dashed P2, and this is in fact the y coordinate of this point P2. So P means here it is you can say y for this, or you may also write M dash P2 or P2 M dash, no problem. And H is again here 1, so this is 1, and then you found the y coordinate in this case is as this is H, means in place of H you can write 1. Alright, so y equals to, now it is sine A. So therefore you could see at the point P2 the coordinate x coordinate for this point P2 in the second quadrant is minus cos A, and the y coordinate is plus sine A. That means what we have found actually, that cos is negative. In this case we found cos is negative, but we found sine as positive. Alright, so let's see what happens for tan. So if you talk about tan A in the second quadrant I am talking of, so sine A, you know that sine A means it is tan A means it is sine A by cos A, But here in this case you can see that, or you may do this way also in order to find tan. So you divide here, or you can just write down here tan A equals to P by B, and P in this case is Y, but B in this case is negative X, so that you can write here minus X and take this sign minus out, and P means it is Y, so Y is it is, or you can just write in general Y by X. So you can say it is Y means it is sin A, so we can write here sin A, and X means it is in fact it is minus cos A, so we can write here minus cos A. Now take this sign outside of this ratio, so sin A by cos A is going to be tan A. That means what we have found in this case is that you found that cos is negative and also tan is negative, but sin is positive. That means in the second quadrant, you can say that sin is positive. Okay, sin is positive means rest of the other trigonometrical ratios are negative. You can see that only sin is positive in the second quadrant, but cosine is negative and also the tan is negative, and hence their reciprocals are also negative. For example, if cosine is negative, then sec is also negative. If tan is negative, that means 1 by tan, that means that is cot A will also be negative, and here sin positive means its reciprocal cosec will also be positive, because cosec A equals to 1 by sin A, as sin A is positive, therefore cosec A is also. Third quadrant we found tan is positive. Finally, let's check in the fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, similarly you join this point, so that here it will be the foot of the perpendicular, and the figures are not to the scale, so you can consider this as perpendicular here and this angle as A. Then let's check that what would be the x and y coordinate in the fourth quadrant. If you apply the same sense over here, you will find that the x coordinate is cos A and the y coordinate is negative sin A. That means what you could see here, that cos is positive but sin is negative in this case. And let's check for tan. So tan A in the fourth quadrant, I am talking here with respect to angle A from this figure. So tan A equal to P by B, it is P by B. So let's check here, perpendicular is the negative y, alright, and this is the y coordinate is already here. This is minus sin A, you can write here minus sin A, and B means it is the x coordinate, so x coordinate is already here plus cos A, so you can write here plus cos A. And then what you got actually, that P by B ratio as in this quadrant as minus tan A. That means what did you get in the fourth quadrant is that only cosine is positive, but rest of the trigonometrical ratios sine and tan are negative. So we saw that in the first quadrant, you can see in this area, okay, that all trigonometrical ratios are positive, and in the second quadrant sine positive, that means rest of other trigonometrical ratios are negative except the reciprocal of sine, which is cosec. And in the third quadrant tan is positive, and in the fourth quadrant cos is positive, that means rest of the trigonometrical ratios are negative over here. So you must first understand this sort of thing, and then do remember. That will help you solving problems in trigonometry.